WD, Town and Country, Vogue, etc. Are we listening? Because I may ask you a question and you will have skipped over some of the introduction and whatever he says. His approach to fashion is always elegant, refined, and of high quality. He's a true couturier. He is a member of the CFDA, which is by invitation and achievement only. He was born and raised in Durham, Connecticut, which is a region rich in the history of the American Indian. He attended the University of Connecticut, and he later enrolled at FIT. From the day he saw an anatomy chart, he began to be inspired and sketched a dress over it. He became fascinated with fashion, but first he studied millinery, hat designing, and became very well known for that. He studied that at FIT. He is known for his creativity. He worked for Adolfo. How many of you know Adolfo? Have you heard that name? He was really like a Dior of the hat world. Adolfo's a very famous name. And Oscar de la Renta, I'm sure you've heard of him, right? Yes? So he worked for them. And here's Mr. B. Michael, and I'm doing the introduction, B, so that you can take over. Do you have the DVD? Mark, we're ready for you. We have the DVD. Okay, I'll finish. Welcome, B. I'm glad you could come. After De La Renta and other places that he worked, this is Mark. He will set up your DVD. We're family here, right? We're not formal. He then started his own label in the 80s. And he established his atelier because he designs on a couture level. His travels have taken him to all the fashion centers which he loves, such as Paris, London, Milan, etc. He has kept always a special love for his birthplace in Connecticut, and we will see his collection on DVD, and I know you will be inspired, and you remember you're meeting one of the greats in our American fashion world, Mr. B. Michaels. You want to do the DVD first? Okay, we will first look at his collection, then you will hear from B. Michael, and then you will have questions ready for him. Good questions. I know you're good at that.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to welcome you on board flight number 100. We're traveling on Lockheed's 11 aircraft, and for those of you who are not familiar with this aircraft, this is an URS review. We do ask that you give your attention to the flight attendant at the front of your cabin. They will point out to you that the laminated safety instructions card located in the seat pocket in front of you is there to illustrate the important safety features of this aircraft. The card should be read carefully before takeoff. The emergency exits on the 1011 are the 4 doors on the left side of the aircraft and the 4 doors on the right side. If a cabin pressure check is done, the compartment above your head will open and an oxygen mask will be within your reach. Extinguish all cigarettes, take a mask in your hand, place it over your nose and mouth, and
Mark, you can turn it up. You're actually listening to Continental Airlines, who is my sponsor. So we have to give them a commercial break. Okay. Quick little story about that collection. First of all, hello everyone. Sorry I was a bit late. I was explaining to Professor that today is, or this evening is the Snowflake Ball, and that means we have been zipping dresses up all day and, you know, making sure the ball gowns all fit. Thank you for the light. So anyhow, running a little bit late, but I apologize, but I am here and thank you. So, quick story about this collection. That is to say, we did this collection in less than a week, which was like, you should not try that at home, as they say. But anyway, we did from start to finish, we executed the collection in a week. We thought we were not going to have a show. We were sort of on again, off again. on again, and so the last on again gave us 5 days to pull it off. So when I look at it, I'm thinking, oh, it should have been this and should have been that, so I'm always giving this explanation. But we did do it in a week, so at any rate, those of you that are in this room from my class, so you have time to work on your dress, is the point. Okay. I thought, as I gave a lot of thought to what I would share with you this afternoon that would really be meaningful and interesting to you. I'm sure that you get lectured quite often, and I know that Professor Papazian and the school has influence in terms of getting great names here to address you. So I thought then, what can I say that you could take home or whatever? So I'm going to share, but I am very informal. Feel free to stop me and say, I didn't get that, or give me your point of view and we can debate it. But you're certainly welcome to exchange. So for me, it doesn't have to be so much like a lecture, if that's okay, Professor. So I thought that it would be cool to talk about the things that I have just recently learned in terms of the fashion business. I started in the 80s, in the late 80s, and worked for other houses, as you heard earlier. And really only 1999, or for fall of 2000, did I launch my own collection. And when you launch your own collection, it's a whole different thing. And my first collection was just for me, awesome, because obviously every idea I ever had in life goes into that collection. And, it's like your dream come true or something, your opening night, I guess. Opened that collection, engaged 2 partners. We put up about $1 million between the 3 of us. I liquidated whatever stocks I had. I mean, it was really, now that I think about it, I'm a little more mature, probably crazy, but it's seemed like, the right thing to do. Did all of that in our first year of business. We booked over $1 million of business. So for fashion, that was pretty respectable, except that we created a $2.5 million infrastructure. And so I want to share with you some of the things that I have learned from then until now in terms of doing this as a business as well. How many of you are thinking you want to be an independent fashion designer? Maybe. Cool. All right, so then this is a qualified audience. So what I had no clue about, and I'm ashamed to admit it, for instance, was a business plan. So I thought I could start my business with sketches. And it's really all about the business plan. And when you are, then trying to spend other people's money, you realize that the first question is, where's your business plan? So finally now, I have these very hardcore businessmen who run my life, and I finally, after 3 or 4 years at it, get to be a designer, which is really what you want. You want to worry about, where's my fabric, the model is late, that's what you want to worry about. You don't want to worry about running your business. So anyway, so these are some of the things that I have learned that I will share from the business plan. First thing, obviously, is what is your objective? And by that, when you start a business, it should be that, I don't know, we want to become, we're a ready-to-wear business and we want to evolve into licensing or something, but you need some sort of objective or goal in terms of how you want to model your business. Next thing, and I'm going to go fast, okay, but you can stop me as I said. Next question, or next point would be your market, and I think that that is very important, and if you're wholesaling, your retail partners, meaning identify who your market is and identify the kind of retailers that you feel represent your market. For me, I do very high-end couture. I would say, you know, Saks has been like my biggest distributor, or made to order at Bergdorf's or Razooks, those kinds of stores I sell to. But I once thought I wanted to sell to everyone, and it's just like, that's not the right thing to do. So you really do need to understand the stores that will represent your point of view, that will do a good job of marketing your point of view, and most important, that have the kind of customers that you want to reach out to. So that seems like it's, you know, a no-brainer, but it's still, you know, something that you need to give thought to, and that should be part of your plan. And then that leads to sales development, and that has to do, it ties in with marketing. How do we accomplish it? Do we do this through, for me, it's through trunk shows, it's through editorials, it's through the collection show, but for you, it could be, depending on what it is you're doing and your market, your sales development, of course, has to reflect that. Part of sales development also are the cities and regions that you feel work for you as well. As an example, are you an urban or are you more suburban? Those kinds of questions, I think your collection or your work should dictate, and you should have some understanding about that. And it's great when, as designers, at least we know that. I find that it motivates me because, you know, it helps you in terms of your muse. Let's see, what else is here? Sales projection, that's very obvious as well. But again, you should think about things like, this is my cost, and frankly, it's a small science. How many garments do I have to sell in order to meet my overhead? So, again, things that we didn't really think about. Sales projection, meaning where do I think the business will be 3 years from now? Where do I think the business will be 5 years from now? Those are all the kinds of questions or whatever. Management resources, very important, because again, when you are sitting down with people that you want to invest in your business, except for friends and family, and if they are savvy investors, they too will want to know, well, who are your resources? Who will help you manage this business in terms of, you know, the administrative side, the production side, the sales side? And those are people that need to understand who you are as a designer and who can, you know, execute what your vision is. So all very important things to think about. Marketing plan, again, not just in terms of direct sales, but marketing in terms of image. And I'm going tonight to the Snowflake Ball, which I would much rather go home tonight and watch television or something, but you know, it's still, it's a work night, so it's what we have to do. It's all about the image. You have to, in my world, I dress socialites, so you have to, you know, support their charities and show up at their parties and, you know, sort of pay your dues that way. If you are doing urban, you know, you may need to know what's going on in hip-hop culture. I mean, I don't know. It's just, you do need to be a part of the culture that you are addressing, and that has to do with your image, et cetera, and that's really all under marketing. It takes money to do that, so it has to be planned. Do you hire a publicist who says you're showing up, you know, not to sound like I'm whatever, but I have 3 black ties this week, 2 in San Francisco and the, of course, the one here tonight, but it's all part of the plan, and it's all related to business, and that's how I sell dresses. So, you know, we just have to do what we have to do. But the idea is who organizes that for you, and, you know, what is your vision, and how do you get all of that into one little business plan? So that's like the elevator version of it. Do you have questions, anyone, or comments, or something to share? Yes. I started FIT in millinery, totally. And I was always motivated by the fact that Chanel started out doing millinery, as did Adolfo and Halston. So I thought, well, there's a club I wouldn't mind joining. So, yes, and I did my first collection, as I said, for fall of 2000. Yes. Great question. And the question is, in case you can't all hear, how is it you attract investors? First round for me of investors was family and friends. So, you know, thank God, because I lost money, but I still got invited to Thanksgiving dinner, so I thought, okay, this is cool. But as you develop your business, for me, actually, through clients and through, you get a reputation in the industry if you're doing it right, and that will lead you to the right kind of investors. And I've sat at the table with many investors, most of whom I felt were not the right partnership, but finally, we have been led to the right partnership. And when you're investing in fashion, it's a whole different thing, when you're talking to those kinds of guys. So I think it's really a matter of being out there, of having your paperwork really tight, and it should lead you to the right investor. And there are all kinds of agencies, there's SBA, or there's, all kinds of agencies as well that you can find investment support from. Cool. Yes. I sell to very high-end specialty stores like Razooks in Greenwich. I sell All Park in Palm Beach, that level of stores. Okay, and my business is mostly a made-to-order business, so that more hands-on. The couture we sell to about 20 specialty stores. In the U.S., yes. Other questions? Yes. Yes, there is. Factoring works this way. If you get an order, then you can submit it to your factor, and the factor will advance a percentage of the money so that you can go into production without going into your own pockets to having, to produce an order. And then the invoice is assigned to the factor. The factor collects from your customer. Factor pays themselves back the percentage that they advanced you, and whatever percentage they're keeping, usually it's 3% or something like that, I'm not certain on that, and then pay you the difference. So it's definitely a way for a small company to be able to get orders and not have the headache of how do I go into production. Totally. Yes. When you say prepare, are you saying technically prepare, or are you saying, I just want to make sure I get. Definitely. For couture, you most definitely should do an internship. And you should select a designer that you feel, or select designers, or that you feel represent the kind of work that you imagine yourself doing. Like for me to work for Oscar was like, going to fashion heaven, because it's, a sensibility that I really aspire for. So, but definitely do an internship. Totally. I saw another question. Oh, okay. And the thing about couture, unlike ready-to-wear, is that your margins are obviously larger, and the business is more contained on one hand. On the other hand, it's really about, great construction. It's about over-the-top service. I mean, my clients, many of them tonight, are coming by the atelier to get zipped into their dresses. So, it's a whole different kind of mind. But if you love it, if that's, your passion, there's nothing else will do. Totally. Yes. I would say that FIT, that's a good question. I would say, I would say that FIT is a great springboard, absolutely, for many reasons, because you get many different points of view. You are here in New York, where the energy for fashion is, and so some of that is, on you to sort of absorb. But I would definitely say that FIT, for me, was a great launching pad. And I'm not just saying that to be nice, but I really do feel that. But, like, no matter where you are, I think you have to ask the next question. If your teacher or professor is not, addressing something you want to know, or if you don't get it, then you need to say, I don't understand that, or how about this, or definitely. But that's on you, no matter where you go to school. I happen to love John Anthony, by the way. And good for you for knowing that name. Cool. Yes. So I think that my point of view, John Anthony does gorgeous, wonderful, classic kind of garments that, will be here forever. I like to think that I do the same thing. I think that I might be a little more body conscious maybe than the silhouette that John Anthony uses, but we both share one sensibility, and that is, from me, you won't really see a lot of beaded dresses and, that kind of stuff. You'll see really great construction, modern lines, but I think I'm a little more body conscious than John Anthony. Does that answer your question? I saw a hand somewhere else. Yes, hold your thought. Go ahead. Yes. I get my fabric from all over the world, mostly like Western Europe, and I do all of our sample making is done here. I have my own workroom, so it's done here, and my team has been with me since my first collection, so they really almost know what I'm thinking now, which is great. That's a valuable, valuable, valuable part, that your team, evolves with you, and that they indeed are your team. Very important. Yes? No, when I first started, I did very little sewing, frankly, and now do none. I shouldn't tell your class that, but but I worked with a team from the very beginning. By team, meaning a pattern draper and a sample maker. And of course, from my sketch and from my giving them technical direction. So I think it's important that you understand the technical aspects of making a dress, because then you coach and manage your team. And they can't say it can't be done, and you can say, yes, it can, and this is how you do it. So I think that's, for me now, what's more important. And sometimes you just tell them, figure it out. Yes. I do not have an assistant designer. I have tried. However, I think that my collection for me is still too young to have an assistant designer. I'm still excited to do it. And so, and I think in fairness to an assistant designer that you need to give that person some liberty. And I'm, frankly speaking, not ready to give that up yet. I do have an assistant that works with the team and that gets involved with fabric selection and so on and so forth, yes. But in terms of sketching, no. But, again, we all sit around and I will say to them, what do you think of this or that? And they're very opinionated, and, whenever I have listened, I have not regretted. So someday perhaps I'll be an assistant designer. But that's and I have been an assistant designer, so I know what that's like. It's like, but you're wrong, Mr. De La Renta. Imagine that. So I'm not ready for that. More questions? Yes. Price range, my opening dress, I think, is $3,500. What's that? A bargain. But we do real couture, so we make a muslin, and we require 3 fittings. It's like if you don't have time to do fittings, you should buy ready to wear. So, yes. How did I get that opportunity? Because I was designing millinery, and Oscar saw some of my work, commissioned me to do some pieces for one of his collections, and it just sort of started that way. And I've been with him here in New York as well as in Paris. So that was like, wow. And he sponsored me for the CFDA, so I'm still his biggest fan. Any other questions? But you know, I get emails all the time, or faxes, what do you call them, resumes, fax to us all the time of interns that are looking to, you know, find the right opportunity and so on and so forth. So I think it's just a matter of being aggressive. And we do use interns, so, you know, but it's just a matter of being aggressive. Person that actually works for me full-time, 2 people who work for me full-time started out as interns. Travis started out as an intern, yes. And my assistant John started out as an intern. So it does work. I saw a hand somewhere, yes.
So do you have a sales team as well, or not so much?
We have a sales director, and his job is he works, you know, with the retailers and does some of the trunk show circuit, but not a sales team per se. Yes. Is that it? Well, good. Thank you. Good luck to you all. Thank you.